Hello everyone. Today's poem is Xiaoya, Qifu by Yiming, a Xiaoya poem from the Book of Songs. The title Qifu, in the very classic interpretation by the Han scholars roughly 2,000 years ago, it was treated as a title of a general, of a high-ranking officer of the Zhou dynasty. And thus this poem was interpreted as a complaining poem to this general, the name or the title of with Qifu. And the poet is the bodyguard or the soldiers in the household troops for the Zhou king, and he complained this general has sent him away to the frontiers, away from his home for quite a long time, and he has so worried about his mother. So basically it's a complaining poem, and also this poem reflects the poet, the soldier that was so worried about his mother back in home. Anyhow, I have a totally different interpretation toward this poem in this video. The key point is with two characters. The first is the word Qifu, which is the title or the first two characters in each paragraph. And the second key point is the character 续, 胡转予于恤. It's in the third sentence, the last words in each paragraph. The title Qifu, the first character qi, is very clear in its meaning in the classic Chinese, means to pray for good fortune or say out loud. Actually, this is the two aspects of the same things. When the ancient Chinese, they pray to the god, to their ancestors in their family's temples, they offer their sacrifice first, and at the same time, they pray out loud for the good fortune. So qi basically means the pray for the good fortune. And fu or fu, if more precisely, we should spell as fu in the classic Chinese. This is a very special term, and it's hard to interpret it. But from my understanding, basically, it's an ending character of a name. Basically, let's say my name is Hui, my Chinese name is Hui, so I could be called as Hui Fu. The Fu, my name plus the character Fu became a honorable term to call me by others. Anyhow, in the very ancient China, especially in the Zhou dynasty, not everyone could have this ending character attached to his name, because you should at least to be a noble person. Otherwise, you even don't have a name with you. And another very, very obvious thing is this person is a senior person in the age, in the relationships toward the Lord, the king of Zhou, or the Lord of the state. So all the relationship was leveled or was determined by the relationship to the king of Zhou, if we're talking something about the Zhou country, or the social level or the relationship was based on the relationship toward the lord of a state. Let's see, if I'm an uncle of the lord of a state, so I could be called as Qifu. Otherwise, I cannot have the character fu attached to my name. If I'm the uncle of the king of Zhou, so I could also be so called as Qifu, because I'm one generation up to this king of Zhou, or to this lord of the state. The character fu, or in modern Chinese, fu, means father, but actually the very original meaning of this character means axe or hatchet. And later on, roughly in the Zhou dynasty, it means the senior people compared to the Zhou king or to the lord of state. And later on, many generations, many years passed, and today this character means father. As what I have said, the title Qifu doesn't mean a title or a general, which was interpreted by the Han scholars. Basically, it could be referring to a very, very dedicated, a real person in the history. His name is Qi, and he is the uncle of the king of the Zhou, or he could be the uncle of one of the lord of the state, one of the states. And there's another possibilities, because Qi also means pray for good luck, for fortunes, or pray to the god, pray to the ancestors. And Fu means some people with a senior, with elder age. It's a senior person. So Qifu could means pray to the elders, pray to the old man. Okay, let's go to the poem. A very typical 3 paragraphs poem. The first sentence, 祈福，予王之爪牙。Uncle Qi, you are the claw and teeth of my king. So here you can see we have 3 persons in the first pair of sentences. Qifu is one person, the uncle to the king, because it very clearly mentioned you are the claw and teeth of my king. So the poet is one person, and of course the third person is the king of Zhou. So here is very clearly that all the 3 persons mentioned in the first paragraph, they are with the family name of the Zhou king. They are from the same blood, the same big family of Zhou. The character Yu means I or myself. Here it refers to the poet himself. The word 爪牙 is still a very popular word in today's language. It means the helping hand, but it's a word of deprecations. It's a word used for bad guys. And in this poem, it's a normal word. It's just used to describe Qifu, Uncle Qi, is the helping hand, is the capable hand to the king of Zhou. There is no bad meanings in this poem. So that's the difference between the ancient language and modern language. The second pair of sentences, 胡转予于恤，靡所止居. There are several difficulties in this sentence. Let's talk it one by one. The most key character is Xu. The Han scholars interpret this character as worry. Anyhow, this is the only place that was interpreted as worry. This character actually has a very, very clear meaning for the ancient Chinese. Just look at the logo, the very original form of this character. You would know it's the sacrifice offered in a big bowl, or the ding, you know, the bronze vessels, ding. So that's the sacrifice offered to the god, to the ancestors. When the Zhou people, they are praying for their luck, and they make sacrifice. So this is a sacrifice. And later on, it derived some other meanings, which means take care somebody or nurture somebody. So this is also a very, very popular fundamental understanding by the Zhou people, because there's so many poems actually telling about this story, that the mother and father, they nurture and they take care of the children. Even when the father and mother died, they have their panels or they have their statues placed in the family's temples. They still take care and nurture their descendants, their sons, their daughters, their grandsons. So that's the basic understanding by the Zhou people. And that's also why the Zhou people always praise to the god together with their ancestors, because their luck, their fortunes are all from their ancestors. Even when they are died, they are with the god and they are in the family's temples. So this is a very key concept for us to understanding this poem. Okay, another term, 靡所厎居. 止, basically, if we look at the very original character, it's you know it's the feet of the human. So also it derived another meaning, that it's the base or it's the fundamental of something, because for a human, the feet are the very, very fundamental to support this this man, to support this woman. It's the base, it's the fundamental things. 居 is also related with the family's temples, with the praying. So the 居 was composed with two characters, and in the very original character, you can see it doesn't change too much. The upper part, we should read as 尸. Today, it means corpse, the dead body. But in the ancient Chinese characters, it doesn't mean that. It has another character to for the dead body. Though this character only refers to the kid who act or who was made up as the ancestors in the grand ceremony. So that's a very, very popular practice in the Zhou dynasty. When they hold big ceremonies, they find the grandsons, the grandchildren, and make them up to let them act as the dead ancestors, and let this kid sit in the family's temples up front, and all the people prayed to this little kid and offer sacrifice food to this kid. So that's the very normal practice for the Zhou people. And the Ju is the term means the kid in this ceremony. He stayed down or he sat down somewhere, and then he can accept the offering and praise from the Zhou people. Now let's try to interpret the whole sentence. Why do you change me to the offering, to the sacrifice? And there is no place to stay down for the kid who act as the ancestors in the ground ceremony. 转予于恤 means change me to the host of this praying, of this ceremony. So the host of a ceremony is a very, very key person, a very, very delicate person. And from this point, we can feel that before the host for this praying, for the grand ceremonies, is Qifu. And now, by some reason, Qifu let the poet became the host of this grand ceremony, of this praying. And there is no place for the dead body's position. So that's a little bit weird. So just let's think it over. The whole paragraph is about a person, so-called Uncle Qi. And Uncle Qi is a very, very key person for the king of Zhou. He's a very, very capable hand for the kingdom, for the king. And this man changed the poet who was writing this poem, changed poem or yu to be the host of the praying. Why does he do that? So one of the very, very possible reason is because Qifu has died. And the following sentence also has a very, very strong implication on that.靡所止居, you don't have a place for that person. When doing the ceremonies, there's no place for the kid who act on the dead person behalf. That person refers to Uncle Qi actually. So let's review the whole paragraph again. So it's all about sorrows and sad feelings toward Uncle Qi. And here, from the third sentence, 胡转予于恤, and it almost 90% tell us the poet is the son of Uncle Qi. So that's why it feels so sad when we read this poem, because this poem is the poem to express his sad feelings, his memories, his condolence toward his dead father, Uncle Qi. Okay, let's review the first paragraph again. Oh, Uncle Qi, my father, you are the most capable person of my king, of this country. And now, because you're dead, you turn me as the host of the grand ceremony, of the grand praying. And but you even don't have a place in the family's temples. So there's something we don't know actually. But it's very clearly this Uncle Qi refers to a very, very delicate person in the history. and for some reason he don't has his positions after he died. He don't have his positions in the family's temple. So that is a big shame for the Zhou people. So the normal noble persons or the royal families, when members, when they died, if they do contribute to the country in the right ways, they should have their positions in the family's temple after they died. This is the most wanted things for the Zhou people. So if you understand these feelings or this methodology of the Zhou people, you can understand a lot of things of Zhou. The most important things for the Zhou people for their lifetime. So they do something good and they was recognized by the society, by the family, and finally they have a good result and they have a position in the family's temple after they died. Otherwise, if they don't have a position in the family's temple, that's a totally disaster. That's the biggest disaster for their lifetime. So with such understanding, we can feel how strong the condolence, the sadness, and even some fury the poet expressed to his dead father. He was such a capable person. He has done so many great things for this country, for the king. And now he has died for some reason. And thus I take over the position he had as the host for the ceremony of the Zhou king, for the Zhou country. So this is the host of the ceremony is a very, very key position, we know. And you even don't have a position in the family's temple,靡所厎居. You don't have a position in the family's temple. That means there's no place for the poet to offer his sacrifice to his father, and also there's no place for the poet to anchor his feelings to his dead father. Okay, the second paragraph, almost identical to the first one. Qifu, 予王之爪士. Uncle Qi, my dear father, you are the most capable man in this country for my king. 胡转予于恤, 靡所厎止. Why do you turn me as the host of the ceremony? So basically, we have analyzed this sentence because of his father, Uncle Qi has died. So that's very naturally his son, the poet, take over the position he used to have as the host of the ceremony. That's the meaning of this sentence. 胡转予于恤. 靡所厎止. You don't have a place to stand on. 止 means the very fine, flat stones. So very likely this term is dedicated for the place for the ancestors in the family's temple. When the kid act as the ancestors, they will be standing as on a fine, flat stones. So basically, this sentence actually means the same as the first paragraph. my father, you don't have a place in the family's temple. And the very precise interpretation is you don't have a place, you don't have a nice flat stones to stand on, which means you don't have a place in the family's temple. Now the third paragraph, a little bit different from the first two. The first two basically they're telling the same thing. Tells his dead father is a very capable person, but he don't has a good end up because he don't has a position in the family's temple. That's a very, very sad thing for the Zhou people, and that's the most big disaster for the Zhou people. And the third paragraph, it tells us something personal. Okay, let's have the third paragraph. Qifu, 胆不聪. Uncle Qi, my dear father, you are really not smart. 胆 means really. 聪, it has two meanings. So the very original meaning means have a very, very good hearing. You hear everything, the very tiny sound you can hear. And it also has derived the meaning of smart, wisdom, intelligence, because even in the Zhou dynasty, the best character, the best virtue for the king is Cong and Ming. So which means the king of Zhou, he can listen every sounds from everywhere. So that's Cong has a very, very good hearing. Ming means he has a very, very sharp eyesight. He can see everything. He can see everywhere. So in today's word, we have the word 聪明, which means smart. So basically, the meaning of smart of this Cong and Ming starts from the Zhou dynasty. And in this poem, it has this character is double referring. So in the very surface, Uncle Qi, my father, you are not smart. Of course, he's not smart. He has contributed so many to the king, to the whole country, and he don't has a good ending. He don't has a position in the family's temple. That's the most shameful things for a noble person, for the Zhou people. So that's why his son, this poet, said, "Father, you are really not smart at all." And also the double referring is, "Father, you don't listen to me." Or maybe it has triple referring. When you're still alive, you don't listen to me. So you have a very, very bad ending, a very bad result. And now you are a dead person. And I want to pray to you. I want to make my offerings to you. But you are not in the family's temples. You cannot enjoy my offering. You cannot have my offering. Of course, you cannot hear my praying to you. So the 胆不聪 here has is a triple referring. Very smart writing. Okay, the last sentence. 胡转予于恤，有母之尸饔. So this is also a very, very key sentence. 有母之尸饔. So we know 尸 is the kid who act as the ancestors in the ceremony, in the grand ceremony. And here it tells us very clearly, the poet mother has died, and his mother has her position in the family's temples, and so that's why her mother has a kid to sit in the family's temples, to act, to behave as his dead mother. The character Yung is meat, the cooked meat, which is the offering, the sacrifice to the ancestors, to the god. So this sentence tells us very clearly her mother has a very good ending, and she has the position in the family's temples. And when they doing the ceremonies, her mother has a place in the family's temples and has her offerings as well. And this has a very, very huge contrast to his father. His father don't have a good ending, and her father cannot enjoy the offering by his descendants, by his son, by his grandsons, and his father even cannot hear the praying by his descendants. And here also very, very hugely doubled the sadness. My mother has died for some time, and now you are the only parents to me, and now you died. I have no parents anymore. So this also greatly enhanced the sadness. Dear Father, don't leave me alone. Don't let me take your position as the host of grand ceremony. My mother has gone for many years. Don't leave me alone. So what a sadness, and what a tragedy this family have. There are several poems in the Book of Songs that is about to express the condolence or sad feelings toward his dead father and mother or ancestors. So this poem is a very, very good reference, or a very, very good comparison to another poem in Xiaoya, 陆娥. So that's also about the condolence to the dead father and mother, and also it's a very, very good comparison to the Bei wind, 日月, the sun and moon. So you can try to compare the poems, how the writing techniques it is, how complexity it is, and how the feelings, the primitive feelings, or it's a very sophisticated feelings already. So you can have a very primitive judgment or very roughly judgment on those poems, which comes the first, and then maybe 100 or 200 years later, another poems come up, and it inherit something from the other poems, and also it became more sophisticated and more complex. You can have all kinds of comparisons between the same type or similar content poems in the Book of Songs, because the poems in the Book of Songs not only cross a big geographic area, it also across a very long time span. So it reflects many things. If you really read into this poem, is it was written in the very early stage in the Zhou dynasty, or it reflects something with very, very outstanding local characters? So you can have all kinds of things by comparison, different poems with same content or similar writing skills. Okay, that's for today. Bye bye.